The rain that night wasn't angry. It fell gently, like the sky was mourning something it couldn't name. Inside a dim apartment overlooking the city, Arin sat by the window, motionless, hollow, and tired of existing in echoes. Every drop against the glass reminded him of her voice, her laughter, her warmth. Mira. She used to dance barefoot in that very room, spinning with careless joy while her hair brushed against his shoulder. The scent of cinnamon tea and wet paint always lingered afterward. Her scent, her chaos, her beauty. She believed love could fix anything. Arin had believed in nothing, until her. They met 3 years ago under a broken streetlight near the old bridge. He was a freelance photographer struggling to sell his work. She was an art student painting sunsets that never looked the same twice. Their first conversation was about loneliness, and somehow, that loneliness bound them tighter than love itself ever could. Mira saw the world in color, Arin saw it in grayscale. But she had this way of dragging him into her light, even when he resisted. For her he smiled more. For her he dreamed again. But dreams don't last forever. The night everything changed. Mira had called him that night, her voice trembling. "Can you come? Please, Arin. I just need you here." But Arin didn't go. He'd just been fired from his studio job, his pride bleeding. He told himself he'd see her tomorrow, that she'd understand, that love could wait one night. It couldn't. By dawn her phone was off, her apartment empty, her easel overturned, brushes scattered. On the desk, beneath a glass of dried-up paint water, was her sketchbook, open to a letter she never sent. "You said the rain reminded you of sadness. But to me it's memory, it's proof that the sky still cries for the things it loves." No one saw Mira again. No body. No trace. Just whispers, that she'd gone back to her hometown, that she'd vanished into the city's fog. But Arin knew something felt wrong. The silence wasn't normal. It was too heavy, too final. 4 weeks he searched, hospitals, train stations, her old haunts, nothing. And then 1 year later he found it, a small white stone by the bridge where they first met. Her name, Mira Hale, carved softly into it. He fell to his knees. The rain came down harder than ever, washing the ink of her memory into the river below. 3 years later, Arin is no longer the man he was. He lives quietly, photographing abandoned places and forgotten streets. The rain became his ritual. Every storm he returns to the bridge. He listens, waiting for something. Anything. And sometimes he hears her. A hum carried by the wind. A faint whisper of her name in the rain. But last night, something changed. As he stood by the bridge, the storm raging, his phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "You left her there." He froze. Heart pounding, he stared at the screen. Another message followed. "Come back to where it rained last. She's waiting." Lightning flashed, and through the sheets of rain across the bridge he saw a figure. A woman in a dark green dress, standing exactly where Mira once stood. Her hair clung to her face, auburn under the rain light. "Mira," he whispered. The woman turned, slowly, almost painfully, and smiled. Then the lights along the bridge flickered out, and the screen of his phone went black. The storm hadn't stopped for 3 days. The city was drowning in silver, streets flooded, skies torn open. And still, Arin couldn't shake the message from his mind. "You left her there. Come back to where it rained last. She's waiting." He deleted it twice. It came back both times. Same words. Same chill crawling down his spine. That night, he stood at the window again, his reflection ghost-like against the lightning. "It's just some sick prank," he muttered. But deep down, something inside him, something that had never stopped loving her, whispered, "What if it isn't?" He grabbed his camera, his jacket, and drove through the rain to the old bridge. The bridge hadn't changed. It still arched over the dark river like a broken memory. Streetlights flickered, their glow blurred by the downpour. The white stone with Mira's name was still there, though someone had cleaned it recently. The flowers he left a week ago were gone. "Who's there?" Arin shouted into the wind. No answer, only the rhythm of rain. Then a whisper. Faint. Familiar. "Arin." He spun around. Through the storm's curtain stood the woman, in that same dark green dress, soaked and shimmering. Her hair clung to her neck, auburn under the lightning. Her eyes. God, those eyes. Mira? She tilted her head, a fragile smile trembling on her lips. I waited, she said softly. Her voice sounded distant, like it came through water. He stepped closer, trembling. This isn't real. But when she raised her hand, he saw her fingers were smeared with blue paint, the same shade she'd used in her last unfinished portrait. The same shade that stained his hands when he found her sketchbook. He lifted his camera. Instinct, fear, disbelief. A flash of light. When the photo preview appeared, his heart stopped. She wasn't there. Just the bridge, empty, drowned in rain. He looked up again. She was gone. Then, the phone buzzed in his pocket. Another message. She's in the frame now. He opened the camera app, and froze. In the live view, she was standing right behind him. Arin woke up hours later in his apartment. The floor was wet, as if the storm had followed him home. His camera lay beside him, cracked. The lens fogged with condensation. Shaking, he replayed the last images. Frame by frame, the pictures changed. In the first view, the bridge, the rain, the empty road. Then her silhouette appeared. Then her face, blurred, crying. And in the final shot, she wasn't alone. A second figure stood behind her. A man. Someone holding her shoulders. Someone he recognized. It was him. Arin stumbled back, the camera slipping from his hands. His chest tightened, memories flooding. The night she called him, his anger, his refusal to go, the silence afterward. The truth clawed at him, cruel and cold. What if she hadn't just died? What if she'd been taken? Or worse, what if he'd been there that night and couldn't remember? The power flickered. And then, another buzz from his phone. One final message. You forgot what you did. Come home. Lightning split the sky, and for a second he saw it reflected in the window. Behind him, a faint shadow of a woman standing in the doorway, dripping wet, holding the same broken paintbrush she'd used in her last painting. Mira, he whispered, voice breaking. She smiled through the rain. Not yet, Arin. But soon. The lights went out. The night Mira returned, the storm didn't stop. It roared against the walls like something alive, as if the sky itself was trying to warn him. Arin sat in the dark, heart hammering, staring at the doorway where she'd stood. The puddle of rainwater was still there, spreading slowly across the wooden floor. But she was gone again, like breath vanishing from glass. He whispered her name once. Twice. Nothing. Only the sound of the rain, and the soft creak of the apartment shifting, as though it too remembered her. By morning, the storm had calmed, but the house hadn't. When Arin woke, he noticed the scent first, paint. Fresh, sharp, unmistakable. He followed it to his studio. The door, which he swore he'd locked, was open. Inside, every one of his photographs had been torn from the walls, lying scattered on the floor. And on the far wall, a new painting. He froze. It was her. Mira, standing in the rain on the bridge, exactly as she'd appeared the night before. Her expression was sad, her hand raised toward the viewer. But what made him shiver wasn't her likeness, it was the signature at the bottom corner. Mira Hale. Painted in her handwriting. His chest tightened. Her last painting had been unfinished. This one was complete. His phone rang, cutting through the silence. A known number again. He hesitated, then answered. Arin. It was her voice. Soft, trembling, and close, too close. Mira? Where are you? What's happening? But she didn't answer. Only whispered, You left me in the dark. You said you'd come back. He felt his knees weaken. I didn't know, I thought you were gone. A low sound filled the line. Not static, but something like weeping mixed with rain. Then her voice again, breaking. You took the photo, Arin. You saw what you did. The line went dead. He stared at his phone, pulse racing. He had seen something, the last frame where he was behind her. But that was impossible, wasn't it? He tore through his apartment, searching for answers, memories, something. Then he saw it, a faint mark on the wall behind the new painting. He moved the canvas aside. There, beneath years of wallpaper, was a hidden door, Small, old, sealed with rusted nails. It shouldn't be there. He'd lived here for years. He'd never seen it before. His hands shook as he pried it open. Inside was a small, windowless room. Dust hung thick in the air. But on the far wall, another painting. This one was different. Rough, unfinished, dark. It showed the same bridge, but he was standing there holding something heavy in his hands. And in the corner of the canvas, written in red paint, or maybe something else, were the words, "You promised not to forget." The lights flickered again. The air grew colder. He turned around and saw water trickling from the ceiling, pooling around his feet. Then came the voice, soft, everywhere. "Finish what I started, Arin." He stumbled back. "Mira?" The shadows along the wall rippled, forming her silhouette. She stepped forward, eyes glistening like wet glass, the broken paintbrush still in her hand. "You said you'd stay," she whispered. "But you left. And when I reached for you, you turned away." "I didn't, I swear I didn't." She raised the brush, touching the air between them. Where the bristles moved, color bloomed across the walls, the room painting itself. The river. The bridge. The night she died. And there, beneath the flicker of lightning painted across the wall, Arin saw it. A reflection of himself, holding her as she fell. Her face frozen in pain. His in shock. He stumbled back, shaking his head. "No, no, I didn't." Her eyes filled with sorrow. "Yes, you did." The paintbrush dropped from her hand, hitting the floor with a faint echo. Then her voice softened, breaking. "Now it's your turn to remember." Arin ran to his camera, desperate, frantic, losing all sense of what was real. He turned it on. The screen flickered, static filled. Then an image appeared, the bridge that night, drenched in stormlight. He zoomed in. 2 figures again. This time the man's face was clear. It wasn't him. It was someone else. Someone who looked exactly like him. And behind the image, written faintly across the frame, were new words forming slowly, as if drawn by invisible hands. "He remembers too." Thunder cracked. The door slammed shut. And when Arin turned, the painting on the wall was gone. In its place was a mirror. And in the mirror, he wasn't alone. The mirror should have shown only him. But it didn't. The reflection stared back, same face, same scars, same weary eyes, but the expression was wrong. It was smiling. Arin froze, every muscle locked. The air in the studio had gone still, thick like smoke. Behind the glass, the other him tilted his head slowly, that cruel, knowing grin spreading wider. Then the reflection moved. Before he did, "Who are you?" Arin whispered. The figure inside the mirror leaned closer, voice distorted, layered like a whisper inside a storm. "I'm what you buried." Arin stepped back. His reflection didn't. It stayed still, then slowly lifted its hand and pressed it against the glass. For a moment, the entire mirror rippled like water. Arin reached out instinctively, fingertips trembling toward the surface, and the instant he touched it, the world shifted. The studio vanished. He was standing on the bridge, rain falling harder than ever, lightning slicing the sky open. Mira stood a few feet away, not ghostly this time but alive, breathing, her eyes filled with tears. "You said you'd come," she said softly, "but you came too late." He stumbled forward, desperate. "Mira, please, I don't understand." But she only shook her head, stepping backward toward the edge of the bridge. Behind her, the river churned violently, black and endless. And standing just beyond her, in the darkness, was him, the other Arin. His double smiled through the rain, eyes gleaming like mirrors. He placed a hand gently on Mira's shoulder. "Don't listen to him," Arin shouted. "He's not real." Mira looked between them, trembling. "Then who are you?" she whispered. Lightning flashed again, and when it did, the other Arin stepped into the light. There was blood on his sleeve, and blue paint smeared across his hands. Memories crashed back like thunder. The argument, her tears, the way she begged him not to leave, and then, the flash of anger, the shove, the scream swallowed by the rain. He fell to his knees, choking on breath. No, it wasn't like that. The other Arin knelt beside Mira, whispering something too soft to hear. She turned toward the real Arin, eyes breaking, voice shaking. "You told me you'd never hurt me." He reached for her. "I didn't mean to." But before he could finish, she stepped back, and the other Arin caught her hand. Not to save her, to pull her down. She vanished into the dark water below. Arin screamed, the sound swallowed by thunder, and the bridge dissolved around him, shattering like glass. He woke up on the floor of his apartment, soaked in cold sweat. The mirror was cracked, a spiderweb fracture running across his reflection's face. But something was different. The room had changed again. Every wall was covered in new paintings, hundreds of them. Each one showed him, standing by the bridge, holding Mira, watching her fall. And in every single one, the other Arin stood behind him, smiling. At the center of the room hung a final canvas, larger than the rest. It showed Arin asleep on the floor, exactly as he was now. And behind him, in the painting, the other Arin stood holding a dripping paintbrush. The paint was still wet. The lights flickered. The house creaked, long, deep, like something moving underneath. Then came the whisper, rising from below the floorboards. "He's not the ghost, Arin. You are." He froze. "What?" The voice came again, Mira's voice trembling. "The night I fell, one of you tried to save me. The other didn't." He looked around, panicked, disoriented. "Mira, where are you?" "He painted your memory over mine. He made you forget." The mirror trembled again. The reflection smiled wider, lifting its hand as if inviting him closer. "Come home, Arin," it whispered. "We're not finished yet." The glass began to ripple again, and this time from the reflection's side, a hand reached through. "What?" "Pull. Real." He grabbed his wrist and pulled. Arin screamed as he was dragged into the mirror, the room stretching and twisting around him until it shattered into darkness. When he opened his eyes, he wasn't in his apartment anymore. He was inside it. Inside the painting. Rain fell sideways across the walls. The sky was upside down. Mira's voice echoed faintly through the brushstrokes, crying, calling, fading. And in front of him, standing under the painted storm, was the other Arin, holding the broken paintbrush, smiling gently now. "You painted me into your story," the double said. "But I was always the one holding the brush." He stepped closer, pressing the handle of the brush into Arin's hand. "Your turn." Lightning struck across the painted sky, and everything turned white. Arin's world went white, then black. When he opened his eyes, he was inside the painting. The bridge stretched endlessly into the storm. Rain falling sideways, lightning slicing the sky open like jagged silver blades. The river below churned violently, black and infinite. The city beyond the horizon shimmered, half-formed, unreal. Mira stood there. Not ghostly. Not distant. Alive, yet trapped, as though pressed between layers of paint and memory. Her dark green dress clung to her soaked form. Her auburn hair plastered her face, and her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "Arin," she whispered, voice trembling. "You came. But it's too late." Before he could respond, the other Arin appeared. The reflection, the man from the mirror, fully formed in this painted storm. His eyes gleamed coldly, his hands smeared with blue paint, dripping onto the bridge like frozen rain. "You brought yourself here," he said. "Now you must finish it." Arin's chest tightened. "Finish what?" "Mira, what did you do?" The other Arin's lips curved into a cruel, patient smile. "The night she fell, one of you let her drown. One tried to save her. You don't remember which, but the painting remembers everything." Mira cried out, trembling. "Arin, don't listen to him. He's not real." Arin's legs froze. The bridge beneath them seemed alive, bending and cracking under the weight of their memories. The rain hissed against the air like static electricity. The other Arin lifted a paintbrush. Each stroke made reality shiver. Mira's form blurred with every movement, her face twisted in pain. The storm became violent, the bridge groaning like it was alive. Arin lunged, seizing the brush. The other Arin stepped back, allowing him space. "This is your choice," he said, voice low and cold. "Save her, or let her remain trapped forever." Every instinct screamed at him. Every heartbeat a torrent of grief. He dipped the brush into the paint dripping from his hands, colors of memory, love, and sorrow, and began to paint the world back into order. With each stroke, the bridge solidified. The rain softened. Mira's figure regained clarity, her form coalescing into life again. Her hand reached for him. He grasped it tightly. For a fleeting moment, hope surged, she was alive. But reality remained unstable. The other Arin lunged, attempting to grab Mira. Arin swung the brush in defense, striking his reflection. The figure staggered, but a twisted laugh escaped him. "You can't undo the past," the reflection hissed. "You cannot erase what you allowed to happen." Arin's hands shook. Sweat and rain dripped down his face. Every memory of the night Mira fell, every misstep, every regret, clawed at him. And then he understood. There was only one final stroke left. He had to paint the truth, not what he wanted to see but what had happened. With trembling hands he painted himself holding Mira as she fell. The reflection behind them, cold and mocking. Every shadow, every drop of rain, every scream immortalized in the canvas of reality. As the last stroke landed, the storm froze. Lightning cracked once, sharp and white. Mira looked at him. Her eyes were soft now, a mixture of sorrow and forgiveness. "It's over," she whispered. Arin fell to his knees, exhausted, weeping. The other Arin's form began to ripple, smear, and finally dissolve into the painted air. The storm cleared. The painted world dissolved like mist, leaving Arin alone, kneeling on the bridge, soaked but alive. Mira stood before him, faint and shimmering, almost ethereal. "I can't stay," she said, voice breaking. "I was always part of the painting, part of the memory. But you are alive. You must go back." Arin reached for her, desperate. "No, don't leave me." She smiled sadly. "I have to go, but I'll always be with you, in every rain, every color, every memory." And with that, she stepped backward into the river below. The water swallowed her completely. No splash, no trace, only the faint glimmer of green and auburn fading into the storm. Arin collapsed onto the bridge, chest heaving, the wet world around him finally still. The storm had ended. The rain had stopped. He returned to his apartment. The walls were bare. His paintings were gone, only the memory remained, etched in his mind like fire. He never painted again. He never tried to recreate the past. But every time the rain fell, soft and silver, he remembered her. Her laughter, her hum, the warmth of her hand. The bridge where love, guilt, and memory collided. And sometimes, in the corner of his eye, he saw a faint shimmer of green. Just beyond reach, just beyond reality, and he whispered her name. "I'll never forget you, Mira." The city remained quiet. The rain returned occasionally, gentle this time, a promise, a memory, and a farewell. The story ended, but the memory of love that survived tragedy would echo forever.